so I'm replacing CV axle, actually both sides, but this is the passenger side, which is probably the more difficult one. Even though it hadn't gone bad yet, I'm seeing cracks in the boot, so I went ahead and got proactive on that. Thing is, I've watched many videos on this and they all are doing the same thing, and I'm not agreeing with it, so I'm going to show you guys what I did here. Alright, so normally they're telling you to remove this ball joint bolt here and separate the ball joint from the knuckle, but tried to do that. You can see I have the nut loose here, but that sucker was seized in there. I couldn't get it, so I had no choice but to remove the knuckle from the strut. Okay, it's 2 bolts. This seems like the better way to do it. Don't even mess with this, just leave that alone. Come straight up here, remove those 2, peel that away. I also removed this, not sure if that was needed or not, but I did, which is the connection tie rod end that goes to the rack and pinion. So with that removed, this thing moves around real nice. Oop, I lost one of my brake pads. But if you do this, there's 2 bolts you need to remove for this brake, for this ABS sensor, okay? So this is going to be a 10mm bolt that goes right here, and this connection right here is a 12mm bolt that connects to the body. Remove those 2 so you see you have enough slack. Without that, it was putting tension on there, and luckily I caught it before I broke anything. But you don't want to, I don't think you want to disconnect this, because these sensors tend to break when you do that. So I would not recommend removing that. Just remove those 2 bolts, give you some slack here. So those are my notes for this. To remove the axle from the trans axle, basically the transmission, I used forks. All right, and I use this one in particular, and you see how it's got a wedge shape. Well, I put that in there. One way it gives you the ability to put force on the axle, and the other way it doesn't. So put it in the right direction and then just pop it with your hand. You can use a hammer. I tried that, but I had better luck just popping it with my hand, and it came out pretty easy. Other people are saying you need a slide hammer. Hey, if you've got it, it probably will work, but this fork worked for me. So that's my notes for this job so far. I'm in the process of putting the knuckle back on the strut. The way you're going to do it is get a floor jack, jack up the control arm from underneath there, and line up the holes. And what your goal is to get the top hole. Once you get the top hole, then you can remove the jack and be able to finagle it to get the bottom holes to line up. So before you do that, make sure you clean up all the rust from the bolts and apply a generous amount of anti-seize. So that's what I'm fixing to do, and I'll be fastening that down.